but the point is that Isaiah 66 talks about the Lord coming in fire and fury with the sword that comes out of his mouth, which is the word of God. The book of Zechariah claims the Lord will come with his holy ones. The point I want to make here, and I want you to remember this for your personal evangelization, is that throughout the book of Jude, Jude has continually talked about Jesus Christ being the part of the Godhead that is involved in judgment. He talked about him being involved in judgment in Egypt. He talked about him being involved in judgment with the spirits in prison. He talked about judgment in general in the Old Testament, but then he's talking about Jesus Christ directly here, coming with 10,000 of his saints, and you're saying, well, that's a given. That's pretty straightforward. Well, it wasn't in the Old Testament. In the Old Testament, well, let's go back to Enoch, which is not canon, but it's there. Let's go back to Jeremiah, Isaiah, and Zechariah. It doesn't tell you there Jesus Christ. It tells you God's coming. God the Father's coming. But here Jude is saying the part of the Godhead that's involved in this judgment that's coming is not God the Father, it's God the Son. And I want you to remember this for any evangelization you do, because what sometimes happens, and it's a common attack on our Christian faith, is, well, you know, Jesus Christ never mentioned that he was God. That's something that you make up, that he never mentions it in the gospel accounts. That is entirely untrue.
Yeah.
That is entirely untrue. So, first of all, that's what he was condemned for by the Sanhedrin. You go to the Gospel of John, he mentions it a number of different times. But I also want to emphasize to you that you go to New Testament books outside of the Gospels, and they're telling you this is the part of the Godhead that's coming in judgment. So this is added support that the early church knew this, that he was the God, that he was part of God. He's the Godhead here that's coming in judgment. So it adds to that, and this is where they may refute it. They say, well, that's not even the gospel. God says this is the early church. What their arguments are, higher critics, is the church didn't look at Jesus Christ as God until the 4th or 5th century. So you guys are misled to think that. No, they didn't. This is the early church. And look what they're doing here. They know this. It was always known and believed that Jesus Christ exalted himself as equal with the Father. And not only that, but he's the one that is mentioned as the God, part of the Godhead that's coming in judgment in the Old Testament scriptures. So that's the point that I want you to take from there.